Just when you feel like you're finally reaching your destination, someone shows up with demands, requests, and expectations, piling them onto your already full plate. It could be family, friends, even total strangers. But they all have one thing in common. They're draining you of your most precious resources, your time, your energy, and your inner peace. If you've ever felt like life's go-to person, always there for everyone else while slowly sinking under the weight of it all, then what you're about to hear could change everything. Let's be real for a moment. Have you ever felt like you're always the one people turn to? The one constantly showing up, supporting, giving, even while inside you're slowly breaking down under the pressure? If the answer is even a hesitant yes, then this video is for you. Today, we're diving into 5 things you should never let others take from you, because these aren't just about physical exhaustion. They are emotional drains. The silent forces that chip away at your spirit until you're left feeling depleted, resentful, and lost. But here's a truth you might need to hear today. You weren't put on this earth to live a life of endless compromise. You weren't meant to be the person chasing after everyone else's happiness while abandoning your own. This is your life. You deserve peace, freedom, and the happiness you've worked so hard to build. So stick around, because what you're about to hear might just be the reminder you didn't even realize you needed. Let's get into it. Number 1, never take on responsibilities that aren't yours. Let me ask you, have you ever said yes to something, then later wondered, why on earth did I agree to this? I have. And believe me, I know exactly how that feels. It always starts small. A family member calling, asking for urgent help. A friend dropping a tiny favor you feel you can't refuse. You tell yourself it's just one thing, but before you know it, you're carrying the entire project on your back. You go from being a supporter to being the one holding everything together, and the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. Until eventually, you can't breathe under the weight. Think of it this way. Even the strongest rope will snap if it's pulled too tight for too long. I've been that rope. Once, a relative called me, asking for help organizing a surprise birthday party for their child. At first it sounded simple. Help pick out a gift, maybe assist with a few little things. But somehow by the time it was over, I had booked the venue, planned the food, made the guest list, and coordinated every single detail. Meanwhile, my relative barely lifted a finger. Their excuse? You're just so much better at this than me. By the day of the party, I was completely drained. And to top it off, they took all the credit for how perfectly everything turned out. When I finally mustered the courage to tell them how overwhelmed I felt, it hit me. I had handed over my peace, and no one was going to give it back. In the last part, we realized that taking on responsibilities that aren't truly ours only leads to burnout and resentment. Now, let's move deeper into an even more powerful lesson. Learning that saying no is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. When I finally spoke up and told my relative how overwhelmed I was, they brushed it off. They laughed it away, saying, "You're too sensitive. It's just one day." But that moment opened my eyes. Helping others doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. I wasn't responsible for carrying the entire event. Others could have stepped up. They chose not to, and I allowed it. Stoic philosophy reminds us, peace doesn't come from pleasing everyone. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And once I learned to set clear boundaries, I finally understood. Saying no isn't selfish. It's an act of protecting your mental and emotional well-being. If you find yourself caught in a similar situation, ask yourself one simple but powerful question. Does this responsibility truly belong to me? If the answer is no, then have the courage to say no. You are not obligated to carry burdens that were never meant to be yours. Remember this. Every time you refuse a burden that isn't yours, you're actually saying yes to your peace, your priorities, and your own life. And that's exactly how you protect yourself from being drained time and time again. Number 2, don't let others take your money and financial stability. Now picture this. It's a quiet morning. You're sitting by the window, savoring your coffee, finally breathing in a peaceful moment. Then, your phone rings. A familiar voice, warm at first. But quickly, the conversation shifts. They need help, urgent, a loan. You tell yourself, just this once. It's okay. But here's the reality. Just this once almost never ends with once. Let me tell you about my friend David. David was the guy everyone called when they were in trouble. A car repair, a late rent payment, a surprise medical bill. Call David. Out of kindness, he said yes. But the requests didn't stop. They grew. David didn't just lose money. He lost his peace of mind. Every time his phone buzzed, his heart would sink, dreading yet another ask, and the part that hurt the most, it wasn't the money he lost. It was the realization that the people he helped never even thought to repay him or truly thank him. Here's what you need to remember. Your money is the result of your sacrifices, your long nights, your endless hard work. You are not a bank, bottomless well, or a never-ending source of rescue for others to drain without respect. Stoic philosophy teaches us happiness doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from living in alignment with your values and protecting what you've worked hard to build. Your financial stability is sacred. Guard it, respect it, refuse to hand it over out of guilt or obligation. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when you constantly give without consideration, you're not just losing money, you're draining your peace of mind. So how do you handle financial demands wisely? Start by setting clear financial boundaries. Not every request is your responsibility. If, the money will be misused, or you'll likely never see it returned. Have the courage to say no. Saying no doesn't just protect your finances. It preserves your relationships from unnecessary strain, because resentment grows quickly when giving turns into silent suffering. Ask yourself this: if tomorrow I faced a health crisis or a financial emergency, who would step up to help me? If the answer is very few, then you already know your answer. Financial stability is one of the most crucial foundations for building a peaceful and happy life. Saying no isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. It's protecting the future you've worked so hard for. Remember, money is a tool to build your better life, not a bottomless well to endlessly pour into the needs of others. By maintaining strong financial boundaries, you not only reclaim your peace of mind, but you also give yourself permission to actually enjoy the rewards of your hard work. Number 3, don't let yourself be dragged into family conflicts. Now let's move into another hidden trap: family. Family is often seen as a sanctuary, a place of unconditional support. But sometimes, family can be the very source of endless conflict and stress. And one of the worst roles you can be forced into? Being dragged into a battle you had no part in starting. Imagine this. You're enjoying a peaceful morning. You've got a warm cup of coffee. You're curled up with a good book. The world feels quiet, calm, at ease. Then, your phone rings. A relative's voice floods through the line filled with urgency. "Tom's wrong." Your brother never compromises. You need to talk to them. Suddenly, you're cast as the referee in a family drama you didn't ask to join. I've been there. Once my uncle called me, asking me to mediate a heated property dispute with another uncle. At first I thought, I should help. It's my duty to keep peace in the family. But here's what actually happened. Neither side was satisfied. One accused me of favoritism. The other complained I wasn't firm enough. When the dust finally settled, I realized something painful. I wasn't the hero. I was the scapegoat. After that exhausting experience, I realized something crucial. I hadn't solved anything. All I had done was lose my peace of mind, feel even more distant from both uncles, and carry resentment that wasn't mine to bear. Here's the truth. Getting involved in family conflicts rarely resolves them. More often than not, you just become the punching bag for both sides. Stoic philosophy teaches us something powerful here. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into battles you cannot control. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You don't have to have an opinion on every event, and you don't have to carry every burden." And that advice rings especially true when it comes to family disputes. So how do you avoid getting pulled into family drama? Set clear, firm boundaries. Be willing to be misunderstood. If you decline to participate, remind your family, calmly but firmly, everyone is responsible for their own actions. And if you're pressured to step in or mediate, you can simply and respectfully say, "I respect both of you, but this isn't something I should get involved in." Most importantly, before getting tangled in someone else's chaos, always ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice my peace, my precious time, just to referee a fight that isn't mine? If the answer is no, then you already have your answer. Your time, your energy, your inner calm, they are priceless. Don't waste them getting dragged into unnecessary conflicts. Instead, use that precious time to enjoy a good book, savor a relaxing afternoon, share a deep, meaningful conversation with people who truly bring you peace. That's how you protect your soul. That's how you stay clear of the exhausting whirlwinds of family drama. Number 4, don't change yourself just to please others. And speaking of protecting your soul, there's another trap we often fall into without even realizing it. Changing who we are just to meet someone else's expectations. Have you ever heard comments like, "Why don't you try dressing a bit younger?" "Dad, you should learn how to use social media. Everyone's doing it these days." At first glance, these suggestions seem harmless, even well-meaning, but underneath, they often carry an unspoken demand. Change, so you fit into someone else's mold. Change itself isn't bad. Growth is part of life. But when you change just to please others, you risk losing something irreplaceable, your true self. In the last part, we began exploring the subtle but dangerous trap of changing yourself just to please others. Now, let's go deeper with a real story. A reminder of how easy it is to lose yourself when you chase someone else's expectations. Linda lived a simple, meaningful life, rooted in traditional values she deeply cherished. She took pride in her way of living. It defined who she was. But when her grown daughter launched her career, Linda started hearing new kinds of comments. "Mom, you should really learn to use this app. The way you do things feels so slow." At first, Linda thought, maybe if I adapt, it'll bring us closer. So she tried. She downloaded the apps. She shifted her routines. But the more she tried to change, the more exhausted and disconnected she felt. And without even realizing it, Linda began to question the very foundations of who she was. She wondered, am I enough? Am I falling behind by her standards? Here's what you need to understand. Change for growth is healthy. Change just to please others? That's a trap. Your values, your habits, your beliefs, they're not outdated. They are the result of your experiences, the hard-earned lessons you've lived, the life you've spent years building with your own hands and heart. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we can't control how others perceive us, we can absolutely control how we perceive ourselves. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, your happiness depends on living in alignment with your own values, not on the opinions of others. So how do you stay strong against the pressure to change? Ask yourself, is this change truly right for me? Will it genuinely improve my life? Or am I doing it just to make someone else happy? If the answer isn't a firm yes, then have the strength to say no. Respond with kindness, but be firm enough for them to understand. I don't need to become the version of myself you envision. I am already enough. Remember this: those who truly love you will accept you exactly as you are, imperfections and all. They won't try to mold you into someone you're not. You don't have to trade your peace, your pride, or your self-worth for someone else's fleeting approval. This is your life. You have every right to live it in a way that feels authentic to you. Instead of shrinking to fit someone else's mold, stand tall in your truth, because that kind of self-respect, it's the most enduring, unshakable strength you will ever have. Number 5. Don't put others' happiness above your own. Speaking of strength, there's one more trap that even the kindest, most generous people fall into: sacrificing your own happiness just to meet the expectations of others. Think about it. How many times have you set aside your own dreams, your passions, just to avoid disappointing someone? How many times have you said yes to something when deep down your heart was screaming no? Phrases like, "I'll be so disappointed if you don't do this. I really need your help. You'll make me upset if you refuse." They sound harmless, but behind those words, there's an invisible weight, a pressure that slowly, silently suffocates your freedom and your joy. Let me tell you about Mark. Mark was the kind of man who always prioritized his family and friends. Whenever his younger brother needed help fixing his car, or a colleague asked him to finish their part of a project, Mark would drop everything to assist. He skipped his favorite gym sessions, game nights with friends, and even small personal rituals that once brought him pure joy. At first, Mark believed pleasing everyone was his responsibility. He thought sacrifice was the price of love and loyalty. But over time, something shifted. People stopped asking if he was available. They simply expected him to say yes. They stopped noticing if he was tired, busy, or overwhelmed. Mark didn't just feel drained. He lost his sense of fulfillment. Here's the hard truth. Happiness isn't something you can sacrifice endlessly to please others. When you constantly put others first, they grow used to taking from you without even realizing it. They forget that you need love, care, and rest too. You are not a supporting character in someone else's story, a fixer for everyone else's problems, a background prop for other people's happiness. Stoic philosophy teaches us a powerful reminder: your happiness, your peace, your soul are your own responsibilities. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man is happy when he lives in harmony with himself, not when he lives in slavery to other people's demands." So don't feel guilty for putting yourself first. Learning to say no, it's not selfish. It's an act of self-love. The next time someone asks you to sacrifice your peace or your happiness for their convenience, ask yourself, is this really love or is this exploitation? Start by prioritizing yourself. Identify what brings you joy and meaning. Spend your time on activities that recharge your soul. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care for your well-being. Take moments to reconnect with who you are, not who others want you to be, and most importantly, don't hesitate to say no to anything that leaves you feeling depleted. Instead of living to please everyone else, build a life that makes you proud. This life, whether it's long or short, is yours to live. Don't hand it over to anyone. Care for yourself with the same devotion you offer others. Your peace is priceless. Protect it at all costs. And there you have it, 5 things that drain your soul, and, even more importantly, how to reclaim your peace, your energy, and your happiness. Life is too short to let your time, your focus, or your well-being be taken away by things that don't truly serve you. Whether it's learning to say no, setting healthy boundaries, or staying fiercely true to your values, the power to protect your soul is, and always has been, in your hands. Imagine waking up tomorrow. No longer feeling drained by unnecessary conflicts, no longer trapped by silent expectations, free to prioritize what truly matters to you. Picture a life where you surround yourself with people who uplift you, you chase dreams that fill your heart with purpose. You live each day anchored in balance and peace. That's the life you deserve. A life of intention, meaning, and true freedom. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful insights on mastering your mind and mastering your life. And here's your next move. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you're ready to reclaim starting today? Let's take back control, one powerful decision at a time.